My name's Chris.
And I'm Kristie.
This is the Washing Up Podcast, and it's week 2, and it's...
Cake Week.
I feel weird saying week 2 and Cake Week.
Well, get used to it. It's the all-new, funky, groovy Channel 4 bake-off.
Word.
To your mother.
It's street cred.
Yeah, you know, with all new editing to make things really, 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 really fast.
Yeah, now really fast. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the episode, the same episode, the speed of the episode was at.
That sounds really good. So what we're going to do is just pull out some cakes and we're going to talk about the cakes. And maybe we'll start with the signature cake.
No, we start with no with the big head. Yeah, that was about as fast as the episode felt.
Like, what the fuck?
The editing was weird tonight, and including...
Too much caffeine. Put the coffee pot away, editor.
The ad breaks, which was scanned weird. Like, they got into... And again, someone will come back and go, that's not them, that's Foxtel putting the ads in, but Channel 4 leave the gaps where the ads go.
Yeah.
They started the technical and then went to ad.
Yeah.
And I was frantically trying to type notes, and in the end, I just looked at you and gave up.
You're like, yeah, can't do this. And, it was just a fast-paced night. I mean, a lot happened. At first I'm thinking, is it because, you know, we're only at week 2, there's still a lot of people in the shed? But it was just the pacing was off. But what wasn't off was Noel Fielding and drag. Oh, my God.
Kristie needs a moment.
Oh, that just...
I just want to congratulate Noel for his ability to manage to walk around in that wig. Yes. That is not easy.
No, and those shoes. It was a beautiful, beautiful moment.
Now, before we get right into the episode...
I will eat your cake, Noel.
That's what she said. Now, before we get into the episode proper, I do just want to give everyone the heads up.
Yes.
The plague that beset the household last week...
Yes. Is continuing, somewhat unabated. No.
So at some point during this episode, there will probably be coughing. I'm just going to give you that heads up.
There might be a plague assistant walking through smoking the place.
Yeah, we're working on that. There's X's on the door out the front, but that's just us.
Might be someone with a cart and a bell.
So just in case there's coughing just in case there's random coughing and people are like, unprofessional. Well, first of all, we say felching. So not that professional.
Yeah, and we might have a sponsor, but, you know.
We might have a sponsor, but that doesn't mean we're professional.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about our sponsor in a moment. Let's get in to the episode. So now the bit with Noel and Sandy was great.
Yes.
It was good dialogue, and yeah, they didn't even bother to do the big payoff thing, which was the then when he went, oh, no, these were just the only clean clothes I had.
I'd believe that.
Funnily enough, so would I.
Yes.
So the signature this week was 16 tray bakes. Now...
Not 16 tray bakes in 16 pieces. Like, you don't want 16 trays of bakes.
Look.
That would be insane.
You do it your way, I'll do it mine. They have to be, excuse me.
Yeah.
Did they or did they not just say...
Yeah.
Tray bakes, 16... even size.
Yes, they did.
So if you did 16 trays...
True.
They're all even size.
I'd like to think that, you know, like Manon got a bit confused and she's like, tray, like very bakes? Like, what am I... am I burning them? They're going to be very baked?
So, and then they were doing... they did a Welsh joke, of course, because John, I don't know if you're aware of this...
Is he Welsh?
John's from Wales.
No way.
I know. It's like he barely ever mentions it.
No, he doesn't.
Like he's not like he mentioned it tonight and it was part of the drinking game. By the way,
he's the only Welsh in the village.
He's the only Welsh in the village.
The only Welsh in the British Bake Off.
So we need to mention the drinking game. And we need to mention the drinking game specifically because we had less hits than we had last week in terms of the individual categories. But dear God. So I'll quickly run through the drinking game. References to Noel's new haircut. Check. We can tick that one off.
Sandy coming out with a bowl to give him a new Noel.
Sandy coming out with a bowl to give him a new Noel.
Yep.
So that happened. Check. Then we look at Sandy comforts a baker. That didn't happen.
Yes, it did.
Oh, did it?
She went and hugged. Who was it?
Oh yes, she did.
Sandy
comforted a baker. Drink.
Yes.
I never missed that one. The technical was referred to as deceptively difficult. No, it was just fucking annoying.
It was.
We'll come to the technical.
Yeah.
Yuzu.
Yeah, it was Yuzu.
Oh, it happened.
Thank you, Kim Joy.
Hollywood handshakes. There were fucking 3 of them.
Oh, my
God. Even
God.
Paul admitted at the end he was disappointed in himself.
Yeah.
John mentions he's from Wales. Tick. That started the show off. Baker admits they've never made this before. No,
we didn't have that. There
We
was
didn't have
obviously
that.
a few people who hadn't made a few of the bakes, like the
but
technical.
nobody sat there and went, "Oh yeah, I've never done
made
this."
this before.
And a baker mentions that their kids love this bake.
No,
No, that didn't happen.
no kids into the Monet. Unless
No kids in the.
your child is Monet, maybe in a past life.
That could be interesting. Mother, I like this cake. What do you mean? You've never had it before? Oh, many times, mother. Many times.
No, I'm just going to go sit out with my my water lilies and crayons and just capture the moment.
Just Crayola has it coming. So,
Yeah.
Prue said that she wanted to see something different.
Yes.
Well, why did you set them a tray bake? Like, seriously, I want to see something I've never seen before.
And ta-da!
Now,
You know whose tray bake should have been entered? Gabby's. Gabby's on Twitter. Her lemon verbena cake.
her lemon verbena cake is world class.
Oh, absolutely.
Go and check it out on Twitter. I think I retweeted it. If not, I will retweet it.
Yeah.
But no, Gabby's lemon verbena cake is always wonderful, and would have won the tray bakes quite easily. But in
She would have
terms,
got a handshake.
oh, everyone got a fucking handshake tonight. We'll talk about that in a minute. So I want to talk personally. I want to start with Bryony because she's awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, they showed the fact that she's been training for half marathons with her and her cockapoo. Now,
Her dick penis dog
yeah.
is off to run a marathon.
Now,
It's great.
I like the idea that it's said her and the dog are training for the half marathon. I like the idea that the dog knows about it.
Yes, and is well on board.
The dog was actually the one who suggested it
Yes.
to Bryony.
Well, I'm presuming because it's a special breed, it's cockapoo. It's like got the intelligence of a poodle and the hair of a cock.
Okay. That's... I've got a bizarre dog breed in my head now. So, anyway, interestingly enough, what I would like to think of, though, is we talk about Bake Off being a global community. And I would like this global community. There's only one thing that I think should happen now.
Nimbus and the cockapoo.
Oh, God, yeah. Nimbus needs to meet the cockapoo. If you don't know who Nimbus is, Great Canadian Bake Off, last series, Nimbus.
Oh, my gosh.
One of the greatest dogs in history.
Gets baked for its birthday.
Again, and we said dogs have
Seven
birthdays, so therefore
7 cakes.
7 times a year there's got to be a cake.
Yep.
Meng Ling from Great Canadian Bake Off.
An absolute delight.
Absolute delight, and her dog Nimbus. They featured in the first episode an interstitial of where they show them at home. They showed Nimbus's birthday party.
And they could all get together, like you could bring in Luke's dogs,
Yes.
like his 3 dogs, like just all the puppies all together having bake off baked.
That could be the
Delicious.
the great Australian bark off.
Oh, no,
Look at that. Yeah. So
high class humour here tonight, folks.
I know.
All from the top shelf.
I know, but Brian was making the Turon and Orange tray bake. Mm-hmm. And that then went along with, they said that Dan visited Germany, went back to Germany in the 19, and I went, oh my God, don't say it.
30s.
Because, well, the problem is that if you're saying you're visiting through, taking a trip through Germany back in 19, there's a few different eras there that could end quite badly.
But he just took a walk in the Black Forest.
He just took a walk in the Black Forest.
1970s. It was delightful.
The goodies were there. It was great.
Yes.
Now, a walk in the Black Forest. There were a couple of Black Forests. Actually, Ruby did a boozy Black Forest tray bake too.
Yeah.
A boozy Black Forest. I'm pleased, by the way, for the drinking game that I took boozy bakes out this week.
Yeah, because we've been a boozy bake-off. It's just overall.
Wow.
No one would be listening. They'd all be in comas having their stomachs pumped.
Now, you noticed in the interstitial they shot for Manon. Because they talked about the fact that she left the farm, but then they showed her on a farm, so clearly
With
they
goats.
just took her to a farm.
With a fucking wallaby.
Yep.
Just a really confused looking wallaby hiding behind a tree going, oh shit, if my parents back home see me, they'll be so embarrassed.
Yeah, it looked weird because they made it very plain that she'd left the farm when she moved to England. And then they just took her to a farm.
Took her to a farm. Goat and wallaby farm.
Now, Terry,
What do you farm wallabies for? Like, milking them would be very awkward.
A sports fan would say scrums. And they could really do with some new crop.
Well,
Our rugby team, shit.
I
Anyway,
like to think that that's actually a farm owned by an old English coach that stole the old Wallaby mascot.
funnily enough, the English coach at the moment is the last coach of the Wallabies who was successful.
Ah.
So there you go. Eddie Jones is breeding Wallabies at the farm that Mannon's at. And of course,
Yes.
we find out that Terry is an apiarist and he brews his own beer.
I have a suggestion to put forward. I think he's Kate from last season's uncle.
She was a blacksmith.
What wasn't Kate, really?
No, Kate was everything. Kate
And then
was delightful.
what isn't Terry? I just think they live on this beautiful little property, just apiarying,
I still want the last.
blacksmithing,
I still want the last revelation. At the end of this.
WHNSing.
At the last episode of this series, I just want it to be revealed that Terry is the man that came up with the chocolate orange. It's actually that Terry. I don't care. I want it to be that, and then Dawn French can just pop up and go, "It's not Terry's, it's mine." And then with Luke, and they were talking, you know, back in Sheffield where I have a bake in the oven, and they made it sound so filthy. So, just to quickly run through the rest of the bakes from this first one, Anthony was making cardamom and coconut burfi.
Yep.
I'm not very good with those pronunciations. I think I got burfi right, though.
Inspired by his mum having sweets with his mum.
Yep, although I understand the cultural background thing, but I think he's done very similar flavours the first 2 weeks.
Yeah,
It's going to be interesting to see what happens when he has to stretch a bit.
Yep.
That'll be interesting. John,
Yes.
who's from Wales, you know.
No.
Yes, Wales.
Like, ooh.
I know.
Or,
those Wales.
in the village.
Yeah, no, those Wales.
Well, that explains his sailing passion.
It does. That's not, it blends them together. He made a lemon meringue tray bake. Karen made almond and marzipan tray bake with rhubarb jam. Marzipan.
It's the disappointing of flavours.
Yeah, I think that the most disappointing thing you could ever be given is carob and marzipan slice. That would be horrendous.
Or like things that look like gorgeous little sweets that just turn out to be carob nuts with like carob buds rolled in marzipan.
Oh.
Or marzipan drizzled in carob that you think, oh, chocolate balls. No.
I'm thinking...
Balls of disappointment.
Okay.
I've come across those in my time.
Balls of disappointment? Of course you have. What I would actually think, though, is I would actually think that if someone wanted to make me the most disappointing cake they could think of,
Yeah.
carob, marzipan, matcha.
With a yuzu drizzle.
But I don't mind the flavour of yuzu. That's the problem. I hate yuzu as a baking show concept. Come to that in a minute. But I don't mind the flavour of it. It's just overdone.
Deliciously overdone.
As we talked about the other week, though, matcha, on the other hand, it's that green sponge that's
Okay,
at the
moving
bottom
on.
of the fish tank.
Just leave it be.
No.
Build a bridge. Next one.
All right,
Who's
Kim
up?
Joy.
Oh, Kim Joy gently.
Did the pandan chiffon cake with palm sugar cream.
And Paul described the pandan as smelling like his lawn.
I'm now just intrigued to go and smell Paul's lawn personally. And I like the idea that Paul didn't pick that up from randomly just wafting it, but he goes and actively
Sniffs
smells
his
the
lawn.
lawn every morning. I think that might actually be what Paul Hollywood does. It's interesting. Luke. Now, Luke went with lemon and poppy seed tray bake.
Which is a favourite of mine. I do like a good lemon
Yep.
or orange and poppy seed cake.
Seemed to be okay.
Yep.
Manon went with rosemary and honey, which again, good flavours. Rahul went with lemon and cardamom. He's outstanding.
Yeah.
And Terry went with rum and raisin, which is very Terry. It's very Terry. So Rahul, the flavour was really good for his. Manon, they said, was a very tough sponge and was bland, which...
For melon, that's surprising.
Again, after Starbaker last week, the curse almost struck. It very nearly struck. She saved herself at the end. Anthony, they said that the balance of the coconut and the frangipane was good.
Yep.
Poor Luke, because it sort of got set up here where they tasted it, and the comment was, that's tough as all boots. And then the icing on top was ultra sloppy. Now, last week, if you remember, when Luke was told that his first bake was a bit shit,
Yeah.
Luke's response was, really?
Yes.
And he doesn't seem to have much of a concept.
No, he's a sweet bloke,
He's
though.
lovely, but you look at him and you go, you're not. Terry, they had a bit of an argument about the rum. Terry said, I need more of it. Prue went, no, you don't. Terry put more of it in. There was a moment where he put the spoon in, and then he just splashed more on the spoon and poured it in and poured more in over it and looked at the camera. And when Prue said you were right about it, he goes, I know. And they looked at each other and Terry winked and Prue winked back at him like...
Little moment going on there.
Bit of a moment. Karen's, they said, looked elegant, but the sponge was dry. I don't know about Karen. We're going to talk about her a bit later, I think, but I don't know about Karen. Something just seems
Look,
off.
after the chip episode last week and other bakers needing help,
something just seemed off. I don't know what it was, but something seemed
she doesn't seem to have the bake-off spirit.
No, she doesn't seem to have the team spirit you need for a bake-off.
Just the love, you know? Like, we're all here to do our best, not to sit down and have recess.
Exactly. Recess comes at recess time.
Exactly.
If you eat your recess now, you can stay after class. Okay, Kim Joy, they said it looked great, the texture was perfect, but Paul wasn't personally keen on the flavour.
Yeah.
But that wasn't because he thought it was bad.
No.
He just didn't like the flavour combination.
The execution was so beautiful, so delicate. Like
Kim Joy.
the little sugar work on top.
Yeah, that was what I was actually going to talk to you about. Like, tray bakes are tray bakes.
Yeah.
In all honesty, tray bakes are tray bakes. Although we'll come to Bryony's in a moment. Because Bryony is a baker after my own heart because it looked horrible but tasted amazing. But of all the things that were done that I was impressed with, the finesse on those little bits of sugar work that Kim Joy did.
And you could see how, like, light and fluffy the sponge was. So I thought she was up for Star Baker at that point. But, you know, then along came a couple more.
There were a couple more that pushed past. And now Bryony. Now, they looked
like someone had pooped out eclairs.
They really did.
Like someone had eaten an eclair whole.
And just passed it through their system hole.
Passed it through their system hole. It came out the other hole. And it was a whole mess.
So many holes.
So many holes.
But
delicious, delicious holes.
The comment that wasn't just good. They said they taste divine. But Prue looked at it and goes, you know what? I don't care what they look like. They're delicious.
Yeah. Well done, Bryony.
Well done, Bryony. We like Bryony. John, who's from Wales, they said that it looked great.
I'm speaking Welsh.
Tasted delicious, but the Italian meringue needed more whipping. So back to the dungeon with you. Now, Ruby did something that the MasterChef Australia contestants always die to do. She made a forest floor.
Unfortunately.
Not in a good way.
Not in a good way. Not in an arty. Put it under a glass cloche with some smoke, you know, ready to kind of lift up as if you're walking through the forest in a fog.
Yeah, she made a forest floor, but it looked more like just all the crap had been dumped on the ground. They did say how
it's a non-raked forest floor.
Non-raked forest floor. A non-cultivated forest floor.
Definitely not Swedish then.
So they said the cake was delicious. And I believe Prue said under her breath, it needs more booze. True.
No, Paul was after more kirsch in it.
Yeah, but then she just said it needs more booze. She just out and out said needs more booze.
Yes.
So Paul was trying to be very baking dainty about it. And Prue was just like...
She wanted more booze, but not more kirsch.
No, she just wanted general...
Cherry. She wanted more cherry.
Yeah, well, I mean, she just wanted more... Yeah, she just wanted more
She just
general
wanted
booze.
more.
Yeah, booze.
Yes.
So, and Dan...
Oh, weren't he's beautiful.
Well, they were good enough for a handshake.
Oh.
But the chocolate work on the Black Forest squares was just immaculate.
And the little cherry on top. They were the ones I would have gone to first to shove in my face.
Indeed. So that was our...
Did we just mention Rahul's? Double-decker Rahul?
Oh, no, we didn't mention... We said the flavour was great. That's all they said. Remember, he was part of the fast forward.
That's right.
Rahul stepped up and they went, flavour's great, and I started to type something down and Manon was already leaving. I'm like, hang on.
Wait, come back.
So, before we get into the technical...
Yes.
I think it's time for a word from a sponsor, don't you?
I think it is. And the word is awesome.
Awesome's the word.
Awesome's the word, because it's time to subscribe or renew your subscription to the Australian Sugarcraft, a quality full-colour digital magazine focused on cake decorating and sugar art.
Cake decorating and sugar art, you say?
What is it full of, Chris?
Goodness.
It is full of goodness.
And sweetness.
And step-by-step tutorials.
And step-by-step tutorials. And tips and recipes and ideas. There's pictures. There's lots of pictures.
Oh my god! I hope there's a centerfold, and it's just like it's like the naughty bake. Like someone's done.
There's
like
an eclair.
There's an eclair.
a modesty eclair.
2 princess cakes on top.
Yeah, 2 princess cakes and a modesty eclair. Those our wonderful people at Australian Sugarcraft. Can we get a sealed section with maybe some princess cakes and a modesty eclair?
You know,
because I think that people would really appreciate that in the pictures section.
Some clam macarons, maybe feature Max's frogs.
Max's frogs could feature. Mel Buttle could do a bit of a vivid description of what she saw.
With like over the trifle. With
over the trifle with 2 spoons.
Yeah.
So it's I think that sealed section alone would justify the subscription price.
And you pay what, $11 like a month for Netflix. This is a fucking bargain. $19.90. 2 issues per year. That's like a whole fucking year.
It's digital.
Sugarcraft magazine.
It's digital, no clutter. No, so it fits in. Speaking of Netflix.
Oh my god, you can Marie Kondo this. You're not cluttering your home with it.
Do you want to Marie Kondo your shelf for baking? Because if you want to do that, then a digital subscription to Australian Sugarcraft is perfect. She would look at you. You know what she'd do? She'd look at this.
And it would bring her joy.
She'd look at the device. She'd hold the device and go, "This brings joy."
Yes. So much joy.
Kim Joy.
Kim Joy.
So go to www.facebook.com/Australian Sugarcraft.
Awesome.
It's great. So moving on into the technical.
Yes.
Now, they asked Prue for some advice on her technical.
Yes.
And Prue's advice was go like the clappers. Now, we all know what she means, but I would have thought that maybe, as Kristie quietly dies, I would have thought that maybe something more helpful. I know that you give those like cryptic clues, but that wasn't even cryptic.
Do you think the editor picked up on Prue's suggestion? Because they went like the clappers.
Maybe Prue wasn't giving that suggestion to the bakers,
but to the editors.
Maybe she was looking at the team and just after they met after the first bake and went, that was a bit slow.
No, slow it back down. Like, the timing was just off.
So
couldn't connect.
What did they decide to do?
Yeah.
Monet's favourite birthday treat, Le Gâteau Vert.
Indeed, and it was a lot of green.
There's fucking spinach in it.
There's spinach
Noel
in
said, and when it goes, and Sandy goes, and what do you think the green is? And Noel went, spinach. And she went, correct. And he genuinely looked stunned and went, that was a guess.
Like, what the fuck?
And seriously, it was spinach. And
the handy thing is, though, is that his other favourite delight was spinach and almond with garlic. So for, his main, he could have the same ingredients that are used in his dessert.
So what you're saying is basically Monet liked it because he was a cheapskate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was too busy spending it on oils and plain air.
Those water lilies won't pay for themselves, you know.
No.
So I thought we heard one of the most pretentious things I've ever heard out of Prue Lee's mouth tonight. And it wasn't even intentional. But one of the reasons I like this is... And then she literally said nothing. She literally just said, not only was it the Monet liked this for his birthday, but he would eat it all the time. And I'm like, you haven't said anything. That was literally her explanation. That was the most pretentious rationale behind why I picked this, rather than I wanted to fucking watch her make something green.
Do you think, though, then, by that rationale, it's essentially the chocolate mud cake? Most people like a chocolate mud cake, when your birthday comes around at the office.
Are you saying this is Monet's mud cake?
Yeah, maybe the only thing at his corner patisserie that was, easy to pick up for a birthday was this particular green cake.
So what you're sort of suggesting then is maybe instead of the collar cake at the end, which has got a reference to Jackson Pollock, he might have liked profiteroles.
Exactly.
So Pollock's profiteroles and Monet's mud cake.
Exactly. but
for the Louvre baking.
when you're in your art office, right?
When you're in your art office.
You know, and the receptionist has got to order.
Is the office in the Louvre? Is it just saving time?
It's in the Louvre. You know,
ding dong. What are you doing? Art office.
Yes, and they're like, oh, everyone Louvre's cake. Anyway, so Pam, the receptionist at the Louvre, has gone, Monet, look, it's your birthday. I've got to duck down to La Woolies. What would you like?
La Woolies?
It's France. What are we going to buy? We're going to buy La Green cake. He's like, yeah, or do you want a caramel mud? He goes, no, caramel mud is like shit. I will have
La Green cake, which is cake. Like the other shit. Anyway, so it's basically what it actually is. It's a more unusual way of making a Genovese sponge.
Yeah.
So I was somewhat staggered, and Robert Harwood, our friend on Twitter, commented on this, and I did tell him he was stealing my notes. But a lot of people commented the same thing. On Bake Off, you know how to make a Genovese because you know it's coming up.
Yep.
How the fuck do you get on this show and not know how to make a Genovese?
Well, Karen didn't beat her eggs separately.
There were a couple of people that didn't know.
Terry forgot.
There were a couple of people that didn't know how to make a fucking Genovese.
The difference is Terry went back and redid his cake.
There were several of them that had to go back and redo it.
Yeah.
Like
Dan did, but he beat his eggs and like his egg whites.
And then there were a couple. I think Luke cut his and realised that he'd cut it wrong, and then needed to do it again.
Where was the Agplane?
Gbbo. Apparently, Robert was saying on Twitter that you're only allowed to do that in a showstopper. You can't do that in a technical.
Oh my god!
You've got to actually manually cut in a technical, and you can use the Gbbo in the showstopper.
Right.
For those who don't know, the Gbbo, and we've talked about this many times on the podcast, which is why it sounds like we know what we're doing. We asked a lot.
Yes. We're learning. We're learning like you. We're bringing you our learning.
It's basically like a device you put on the bench.
Yes.
And you sort of set your heights, and then it just slices the cake.
Yep.
Like it's like, think the guillotine that you use to slice paper, but think about it going horizontally instead, and for cake.
You would have thought, though, they would have allowed a guillotine for this particular cake. Like, just...
Yeah, with the French connection, yes. You would have thought so.
Any last words?
I'm staggered, though, that there were people that didn't know how to do this in terms of make a Genovese. It's not that... You know, again, if you're on Bake Off, you know how to do that, and you know it's coming up.
But Dan knew exactly how to make it. Welsh Dan. Hello there, Welsh Dan. Thank you very much for cooking a cake. That was very nice. I don't know if that's Welsh.
I don't even know what that accent was. I don't know.
That was a nice cake.
That's far more reasonable.
Yeah.
Now, a couple of people but it looks so pretty. My problem with the green cake is...
It looked like Shrek sat on it.
Did you see the judging? There was no uniform green cake. No. Everyone had a different shade. Everyone had a different colour.
50 shades of green.
And if you fuck up a green cake...
Yeah.
You know. Like Anthony's, which looked like it had just left the swamp and still had some of the stones and like muck attached.
Yeah.
Like it's obvious if you fuck one of those up. Yeah. So in the technical, Karen came 11th in the technical. Karen's cake was horrible. It was genuinely horrible. Ruby was 10th.
Yep.
Anthony was 9th. Terry was 8th. Luke was 7th. Manon was 6th. Bryony was 5th, which wasn't a bad effort for her. Kim Joy was 4th. Not bad.
Nice work.
Dan was 3rd.
I know, that surprised me because his was bloody beautiful.
Rahul's was 2nd.
Yep.
Rahul did a very good job there. And John, I was staggered.
Oh my God, I got their names wrong.
Yeah.
It's Welsh John.
Welsh John.
I keep calling him Welsh Dan.
Don't do that. John's the only Welsh in the village.
That's right. John's the only Welsh in the village. Dan's the only gay in the village. Possibly. Anyway, the only confirmed gay in the village.
There we go. So, anyway, moving on. Why am I doing the accent? Fuck!
It's catching like this virus.
No.
I share everything with you, Mark.
I've caught one thing I don't want to catch too. So, showstopper. Now, there are certain things that have become, over the last few years, a British bake-off curse. Yeah. So, look, the most obvious one is a baked Alaska. However...
Bomb Alaska.
A bomb Alaska. However, running really close now...
Pears. Oh, that's Canadian.
That's Canadian. Chocolate collars are now running very close. So it's summer. It's Britain.
Yep.
The last couple of summers in Britain have actually been quite warm.
Yeah, bordering on Aussie summers.
What do you do if you're the producers?
You go, it's going to be really fucking hot. What shall we set? A cake that needs to be kept warm. You need to have warm things happening.
A big sponge, and that'll be
warm.
No, we'll do a chocolate collar cake.
Because fuck it.
Because we know they go really well. Ask Jane from British Bake Off a couple of years ago how well...
I wonder what Jane's up to. I do love Jane.
I can tell you what Jane's up to. She won Christmas Bake Off.
Ha-ha!
She got her revenge. All right, so the showstopper was you had to make a chocolate collar cake.
Yep.
Now, I'll quickly run through what everyone made, and then we'll go through just quickly what happened.
Okay, I won't comment yet.
So Anthony made pistachio, saffron, and rose. So there's not overused flavours at all.
We're not commenting. We're going through them, remember?
Rose water, by the way, is coming very close to being the next part of the
curse.
The matcha /yuzu /rose water.
Yeah.
It's getting there. It's really there now. Bryony made chocolate fudge and salted caramel. I like the way she also called it a creation, not a cake. Just in case it fucked up. Dan went with a dark chocolate and raspberry birthday cake, which, by the way, we'll get to it in the judging. It looks sublime.
I love you, non-Welsh Dan.
Looks sublime. John, who is Welsh, you know.
Oh, John's the Welsh one.
John,
hello,
who also wears a lot of Hawaiian shirts.
I love how his kids pick out which one he's going to wear.
Yeah, he then made a Hawaiian shirt pina colada cake.
Look, I think if you're going to be delivering blood, you may come under attack from vampires. So you want to reflect as much sunlight as possible. And that's why I think he wears the Hawaiian shirts. So you're suggesting the Hawaiian
shirts are a vampire protection device?
Yeah, like, even just like, you know, they're like, oh, is it sunny out? No. And then they see a guy in a Hawaiian shirt with blood, they're like, oh, there's obviously sun out. I can't go after him.
So Karen made a strawberry fair chocolate cake, where she wrote the lyrics to a song which we'll come to in a minute on the.
I'm sure Gabby knows all the lyrics.
Probably does,
and is probably driving poor Leah insane.
Well, they were playing the drinking game, so who knows? Kim Joy.
Yes.
Raspberry and
yuzu.
Shut up. Cat cake.
I love the cats.
Yeah,
they were awesome.
Luke, who took this a step further and decided on the really hot day to do a raspberry and white chocolate collar cake.
Because white chocolate goes better than just plain old chocolate.
And covered it in cream. Because why not? Manon made something close to Bake Off favourite and our friend Robert's heart. She made an almond princess cake.
Princess.
He does like a good princess cake.
He does. Have we spoken about Miss Maud's yet?
No, we haven't spoken about Miss Maud's.
Okay.
Did we? No, we didn't do it in the review, did we? No, we just moved on. So
no. So
Miss Maud's.
Okay, so recently we were hosted in Perth by the delightful Robert and his lovely wife. And on the final night in Perth, we went to the Swedish smorgasbord, Miss Maud's, which is this hilariously kitsch, Swiss hotel in the middle of Perth. And the food is delightful, but what's even more delightful is their array of amazing cakes. And they do a mighty fine chocolate cake, but also a mighty fine princess cake. It was an absolute delight, and thank you, Robert, for introducing us to this amazing place. It was even open in the 70s, and Miss Maud herself hosted the Miss World contestants.
And literally just the greatest chocolate cake I've ever eaten.
Yeah.
I haven't eaten a better one, ever. Moving on. Rahul, chocolate orange layer cake.
Yep.
Terry should have made that. If he doesn't make a chocolate orange for the end of this, I'll be so pissed. Ruby, chocolate orange Jackson Pollock collar cake. Because, of course, one artist isn't enough this week.
No. We're in the Louvre, remember. The Bake Off 10 has become the Louvre.
We are indeed. Louvre of baking, yes.
And Sandy's become the receptionist. She's the one that's going out organising the cakes.
And then Terry, because we're in the Louvre.
Yeah.
Terry then made the champagne and strawberries Eiffel Tower.
There we go. See, it's all Paris all the time. And Noel comes wandering in as Marie Antoinette. Oh my God.
I'd like to think that I would like to think that it was just he didn't know what day it was and was just walking around town and happened to walk in. Kristie's a mile away, by the way. I could say whatever I want at this point.
Drag.
She's not hearing anything. So anyway, Anthony made a sari collar around his to celebrate heritage, which looked really good. The colours looked vibrant too. He's good with colours. Ruby decided, however, it was chocolate orange, but Ruby's chocolate orange was a bit different because Ruby's chocolate orange was corn throat.
Oh, yeah. Now, we know that flavour. Thank you, Miss very much. Moorish Cakes, the delightful Monica Cavallero.
Yes.
A couple of seasons ago on this Great Australian Bake Off.
Always go and check out Moorish Cakes. Always go and check out Moorish Cakes.
Good stuff happening.
Her Contro flavours are really good. There may have been a certain wedding cake on our Instagram that you might want to go check out. Which
my mum still raves about it. Do you still have any of that cake left?
You better believe we do, and no, Alice, you're not getting
beautiful cake.
Now, Kim Joy, she wasn't just putting cats around the outside. Her argument was that the cats were chasing a ribbon around the collar.
And so she put a ribbon.
You put a ribbon and put the cats there. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Now, I loved Manon because Manon was making the mini princesses.
Yeah.
And Noel came over and went, "Are they me and Sandy?" And she went, "Yes, they are." And she goes, "Look, Noel, you're asleep and Sandy is pissed off because he's late." And Noel looked at her and goes, "I think you read the wrong script." Oh, the BBC would never let that happen.
No.
The BBC would not let that happen. Now, poor Bryony, when she slices her cake open to get ready to do the first layer of cream, slices it open, looks at it and goes, it's raw. And you felt her heart sink.
Oh, disappointment. So she had to go back.
Now,
sort that shit out.
But then they didn't even dwell on it. She just went off and did something else, and they moved on.
Yeah.
And they moved on to everybody then haphazardly explaining chocolate tempering.
Yeah.
So everyone had a theory. Nobody seemed to know the right temperature.
Anthony's went from like 40 degrees to 30.
Yeah, Anthony's temperature's changed.
Someone said 38.
And then we got Rahul, who gave us an ultra-scientific explanation about the crystallisation of chocolate.
Yep.
And then they went from Rahul to Karen. It was like, you know that shine you see on chocolate that you buy? I think that's tempering.
Yep, that's right. You just go out and buy a temper. Go out and buy a tiny temper.
Yes, go buy a
little wrapper.
Don't buy your own little wrapper, tiny temper. Now, Karen then told Noel about the song, started singing the song.
Strawberry fields forever.
Let's just pretend it was that, shall we?
Da-dee-da-dee-da-dee-dee.
Now, what I loved about it, though, was Noel was, Karen was saying, the song is about, and Noel goes, a prostitute. And I do have to, look, I feel really horrible about this, but not every song, and Noel, I have to chastise you. The term is sex worker. Get the terminology right.
Yeah.
Karen's like, no, it's just a woman who happened to be going along and her virtue was, and Noel's like, yeah, I'm right.
And she wants to sell her wares.
Yes. And Noel's like,
to a suitor.
Her wares, huh?
Yeah.
So this brings back to the...
Nothing wrong with it.
Question we have to raise.
Yeah.
Why did they pick to do the chocolate collar?
When it was like...
Summer.
Yeah, climate change is going on around them.
And the person I felt really bad for was Terry.
Why?
Because Terry made the most amazing Eiffel Tower. And it was brilliant chocolate work. Terry's chocolate work was amazing. They commented on the bit that was left.
The struts.
The comment they gave, what they said was that the ironwork is just outstanding.
Yep.
But the top half just fell.
Yeah.
Which did lead to everyone getting drunk because I did put down that a bake would fail in the last hour and 4 of them fell over.
Yeah.
So in the judging, Dan, they said it was stunning, it was rich and moist, and that the Swiss meringue was a really good call. Mm-hmm. Kim Joy, they liked the look of it.
Dan, the dad, not the Welsh dude.
Yes.
Okay.
Kim Joy, they said the sponge was firm, unfortunately. It looked great, but the sponge was a bit too firm. Anthony, they said again, the colours for the sari were amazing, and the colours of the cake, when you got the cross-section, it was a good cross-section.
But they could only taste saffron.
But, yeah, the pistachio was overpowered by the saffron. Karen made everyone drink by saving herself because...
She was a goners.
Yeah, Karen was gone.
That was in the technical and shit.
She was dead in the water, and she knew it, and she saved herself with her cake. Mm-hmm. They loved it. John, who's from Wales, they said the cake looks good. It was tender and it had good flavour.
Yeah.
Luke, Okay, so the cream and the white chocolate in the heat was a bad call.
It looked like there was an explosion. Like,
It looked like the 5-year-old has gone into the kitchen and come out of a cake to make for mummy and daddy.
just a lot of
I felt so bad for him.
Yeah.
And then they said the flavour was... But this was me. They went, the flavour's delicious. And they said... He goes, oh! And they went, yeah, but the cake's really tough.
Yeah.
So the flavour wasn't delicious. You were just trying to be nice.
Exactly.
Manon. Now, Manon left the acetate on because the chocolate... She was worried it hadn't set, so she just left the acetate on it.
Yeah, and if she pulled it off, oh my God.
When they took the acetate off, they said the chocolate was set perfectly.
Yeah.
And the sponge was amazing. The chocolate was set really well.
And she even had the white chocolate set. Like, that was just a beautiful... And, like, the... She had the... Not Picasso, what's his name? Pollock going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Terry. Now, they said his ironwork was good.
Yeah.
Which is good, but... Unfortunately, the flavour of the cake was dull, and all you could taste was the sweetness of the cream.
Yeah.
So, Terry's 2 weeks in a row now. He's walking a very fine line here.
I love him as a person. I think
Love
he's a
Terry.
delight.
I want Terry to hang around because I just feel there's so many more weird things that we're going to find out about.
Yeah. Next week we find out he's a friggin' like spelunker. Like, he's just
I got to be a spelunker.
hardcore spelunking, but in
Not
only
enough spelunkers.
No, but only in 18th century gear. Like,
I want to know, if you are a spelunker, how do you find the time to bake? There's no cave kitchens.
well, not with that attitude.
Good point. Bryony. They said the sponge looked good, but unfortunately was overbaked, so she went from raw to overbaked. Well done. That's a skill. However, Prue argued with Paul and said that it was a bit overbaked, but the flavour was strong enough.
Yeah.
Rahul looked amazing. The flavour was fantastic, and Paul at that point looked at him and goes, come over here.
And Rahul's, you could just see his look on his face like...
And Rahul later on was great, because Rahul said he was worried about leaving something inside the cake, like a doctor leaving something inside a patient.
Have I counted all the skewers that I've used?
Count them out.
Count them out.
Where's your shadow board?
Yeah.
Instead, the first ever showstopper handshake,
Yep.
which is mighty impressive.
Double hand as well, you know, hand over.
Until the last cake, which was Ruby, which looked impressive. The sponge was amazing. Prue said she could eat it all day. And then Hollywood gave out a second handshake.
Yep.
However, Ruby, interestingly enough, goes, oh, you know, I've got the handshake and that's great, but I really wanted Prue's approval.
Wow. Do you think it was like a reaction because Paul had been a little bit like brutal in the technical judging?
Maybe, but to be fair, you saw the different shades of green going on.
Yeah.
There was no uniform green there at all.
Absolutely. I'm not saying it was unjustified. I'm just like, in Ruby's mind, she's like, all right, Paul.
Ruby does feel like she'd hold a grudge.
Yeah.
She really does. So they went off for the judging. When they came back, they came to a pretty uniform decision. Rahul wins Star Baker, which is fair enough. He's a lovely guy too.
And everything he did tonight was exact. So he came second in the technical.
Yep.
His
probably
came second
was great,
in the signature, and that he was up there. So.
Yeah. So exactly, that's fair.
Yeah.
Luke just seemed to have disasters. Look, his Monet thing was not the worst in the world.
It was Mon B.
It was a solid C minus.
Mon C minus.
Mon C minus.
Yeah.
So look, Luke probably had to go, but Terry's running it really fucking close.
Yeah, and Karen was skating there as well.
And Manon nearly got herself gone week 2 after being Starbaker week 1.
Yeah.
She sidesteps the curse.
Uh-huh.
Rahul seemed to sort of mention it at the end too, where he went, I just hope I haven't peaked too soon.
Oh, no, I don't think so.
No,
Rahul's
he's quite technically gifted.
Yeah.
And knows what he's talking about. So that brings us to the end of another lovely episode.
Fast.
Really fucking fast.
Like, I felt like I needed to. I don't know if it's because we're sick. Maybe we're slowed down. Maybe this podcast, people are going to have to listen to it at double speed.
No.
Because they're actually talking really slow.
No. I found it really tricky because I've mentioned before on this that I have a million things happening at once while the show's on. So I'm watching it and I'm taking notes and I'm live tweeting at the same time. And I had to abandon...
Yep.
I abandoned. Not only did I abandon the notes, I abandoned the live tweeting.
Yep.
And like I always get quiet in the showstopper because there's a lot to do.
It was lacking space.
Yeah, there
was no space to process.
Like I was waiting for the gap after the first challenge, and the gap didn't come.
And you usually get it with that music, like do 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 do, like just a little
and
like
the gap,
violin going on there.
The gap that is supposed to happen after the first challenge didn't happen.
Yeah.
And so it got into the technical, and then it was weird. So
hopefully we'll be back on board next week.
Yeah, hopefully it's all fixed up in time for next week. Now, yeah, that's the end for this week. Now, nothing else to plug. You've got nothing else to plug. You're not doing anything really, are you, at the moment?
No.
Recovering from illness?
Recovering from illness, just battling plague, really. That's me.
Look, she's a hero.
I am.
Some people call her a hero.
Do-do-do.
Some people call her a space cowboy or the gangster of love or, coincidentally, Maurice. Woo woo.
The whale whisperer.
The whale whisperer, as we found out. So until next week, I'm still Chris.
And I'm still Kristie.
And we'll see you all next week.
Love you lots.